Hello and welcome to Mystic Ashram. Today I'm going to be discussing Sun in Taurus. Sun in Taurus is a marvelous sign to have a sun in because they are so loving and consistent. And Sun in Taurus people generally have a very stable career life. They also have great prospects in property, acquiring property, real estate, favorable rental deals. These are all things that Taurus is really good at. They're very good at doing their budget and sticking to it. These sorts of practical things. Taurus loves a good meal, and they probably know of some really great restaurants. If a tourist invites you to a meal, you can expect it to be a really enjoyable social experience. Taurus people love their creature comforts in their home by a forelock. They like their hair to hang down kind of over their eyes. Think of the kind of facial features of it's a really old reference, but there's these cartoons of little evaporated milk cows, and they have daisies on them, and they're kind of human-esque cows. They're anthropomorphized. Anyway, all cows belong to Taurus. So, steers, cattle, little calves, those sorts of things, they are part of the Earth goddess Venus energy of Taurus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and so Taurus is very good at making their houseplants grow. They express their love in nurturing, in being very thoughtful. They probably will plan a surprise birthday party or gift someone the perfect gift that's very healthful minded. Over here, we have Parker's astrology, and I love their visuals on all of the signs. And over here, we have some of the associations of Taurus. So, green emerald gemstones are very Taurus. You can think of the green of the earth for that one. And then colors, though, are slightly different. They include pink, pale blue, and green, and pastel shades in general. These are all Taurus. So, pastels are the perfect shades of color for gifts for Taurus. Um, they are considered a cardinal earth sign. So, let's see, the gentlest of the earth signs. Their flowers include the foxglove, rose, especially the pink varieties, poppy, columbine, daisy, and violet. Those are all Taurus flowers. So, any of those sweet, shy, uh, you know, beautiful smelling, but tiny kind of flowers. And then the uh, country is Switzerland. So Taurus will be particularly happy to go to Switzerland. I can think of the Baby Bell cheese cows right now with their wonderful little bells tinkling, and the it reminds me of the Saint Bernards with the rum casks around their necks so that the Benedictine monks could save people in Switzerland. That kind of reminds me of Taurus. And so if the person was dying of hypothermia, they could drink the whiskey or cognac or whatever brandy out of the cask around the dog's neck and save their lives in the freezing cold enough to get to the monastery through the avalanches. That was the idea, is the dog digs them out of the avalanches, and they're able to drink this drink that makes it possible for them to survive. So this is Taurus in a Swiss landscape here. We can also think of those beautiful lakes, which are like mirrors, the Mamawasi African water goddess, which I often think about, that mirrored lake water surface of Switzerland. Very Taurus, very Venus. So foodstuffs are cereal crops, especially wheat. Um, are very Taurian. Poppy, as a flower, is Taurus. And then in mythology, Taurus was a bull. Think the Minotaur, I guess. And then foxglove is one of the flowers, which we mentioned. Herbs and spices associated with Taurus are sorrel, cloves, and spearmint. Ah, very interesting. Now it becomes apparent. And then fruits include apple, pear, and berry trees. Wow, so very refreshing, fresh tasting fruits. And then the yellow mountain violet is considered a Taurus flower. So is the daisy, the crabapple, and the dog rose. So, um, the dog flower, I think, is what they mean by dog rose. So, a dog flower is a very white, kind of four-petaled, with a black center kind of flower that looks like a very large cherry blossom. All of these flowers, very much part of the dairy nature of the earth spirit of Taurus. Taurus is known for their stubbornness. But to say it's stubborn is to be disrespectful. Really, Taurus just knows their boundaries. They're good with their boundaries. They know their comfort zone. They know what gives them the nourishment, the sustainment, what helps them work at their peak level, these sorts of things. Unfortunately, sometimes this doesn't go with the flow of other signs. For example, maybe, somebody really gets used to living alone. They like setting their own schedules. They don't really want to cohabitate with anyone ever. And that would be a very Taurus kind of thing, is I need a lot of room. Or another possibility is they have their own property, and they prefer to have all their friends live around them on that property, but in different houses, so that nobody gets cramped. And they enjoy being the provider of said property. They just don't want to live near anyone. So this is the kind of, Taurus kind of thing. Because they're very nurturing. They're really into setting up a real sense of stability, and being a good teacher and influencer, and an upstanding member and community leader, all of those things. If a Taurus person is interested in you romantically, they will probably just come and tell you, or ask an intermediary to formally let their intentions be known, which is very refreshing. It's very nice to have somebody be so forthright. However, there's another aspect of Taurus, which is possessions. They like collecting. Maybe not the same sort of collecting that other people do, but a thing for collecting one of everything of what they're into, and this may include the object of their affection. They're very possessive when it comes to an interpersonal bond. When they find something they like, they want a lot of it, and this extends to their people. When they decide they like you, then you're theirs. So, and it has to be on their rules. Taurus is good at providing for the people they love and for helping people out and for always being a safe harbor in the storm, and you've just got to give them their boundaries and their space and their headway, and you can't doubt them. You got to be in their optimism too, because they've got optimism and they've got the budget, the facts, the figures to back it up. A lot of people talk a lot of good game, but a Taurus can pull it through, can pull it off. Now, Sun also always has something to do with father. In the Taurus example, regardless of where your Taurus is in terms of house, uh, Sun is a representative of the father in the chart. And so with Taurus, you probably were pretty solidly taken care of, at least in a material way, in terms of your basic needs. When you end up going into your own independence as an adult, as a Taurus, you will find the path somewhat tidier for you, loose ends resolved, contracts in place, insurance in place, so that you can step out into the world on an even footing. This gives you an advantage and a bird's eye view, as it were, to keep your stuff aligned. It's simple, solid, it's tangible, your assets are in good order, and yet you are not one of those people who would be judgmental towards others who haven't had perhaps such a solid run of things, perhaps. That's not to say you got everything you wanted. Um, and that's not to say that there wasn't perhaps some emotional recognition. You wanted to state who you were, and perhaps that individuality was not as encouraged as you wanted, or acknowledged by others as you wanted. So it's not to say that you had everything, but you're also not judgmental towards people who perhaps are a couple paces behind you in terms of, like, just working out their budget, maintaining a good job, being stable, staying in the someplace, secure. All of those sorts of things you can understand, and for that reason, Taurus make very good people who help others, such as, say, a psychologist, a social worker, but particularly something financial. So, where you're budgeting for others, a personal accountant, a CPA, these sorts of trades where you really have to be for somebody's best interest, say insurance agent who is very receptive when people have issues. This is the sort of person you really need on your team. Real estate agents, tourist, like travel agents, these sorts of people you hope are Tauruses because they will never question the needs of another person. For the most part, they will understand that people have needs, and it is their responsibility to make sure that everything's on the straight and narrow and the way it should be. And thank goodness for Taurus. All right. So I sincerely hope that this has helped you and healed you, and you've enjoyed this. And this has been Sun in Taurus. And many blessings. It's been my pleasure to spend this time with you, and I sincerely hope to see you back here very, very soon with another reading for another sun sign. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.